Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into something I think affects a lot of people. How having a history of depression or anxiety impacts getting life insurance.
Yeah, it's a really important topic. We're looking at some info via Diversified Insurance Brokers, specifically about MassMutual's take on it.
Right, and their approach seems, well, maybe more understanding than some might expect.
Exactly. So whether you're listening for your own planning, maybe you work in finance, or you're just curious about mental health and, insurance, this should be helpful.
Our goal here is really to get a clear picture of what factors matter and maybe bust some myths.
Definitely. Let's get into it.
Okay, so the big one first. If you've dealt with depression or anxiety, does that just automatically mean bad news for life insurance?
Well, the good news is generally no. That's a key takeaway right up front. Many people with conditions that are well managed, they absolutely can get good rates.
That's reassuring. So it's not like an automatic no or a terrible rating just because of the diagnosis.
Not at all. And that ties into what we're seeing from MassMutual. They seem to focus much more on the overall health picture.
The whole picture, not just one single thing. Makes sense.
It does. It's looking beyond just the label.
So if someone does have that history, what helps them get those better rates? The preferred ones.
Okay, so several things really help. If symptoms are mild, maybe moderate, but crucially well controlled, that's big.
Meaning it doesn't really throw their life off track.
Exactly. Minimal impact on their lifestyle, their job. Also, no history of substance abuse is very important.
Right.
No history of suicide attempts or hospitalizations related to mental health. Those are all positive factors.
What about medication? People often worry, I'm on an antidepressant. Is that bad?
That's a common question. Generally, using minimal medication, or maybe none currently, is seen more favorably. It often signals stability to the underwriters.
Underwriters,
Yeah.
right? They're the ones assessing the risk.
Correct. They also like to see stable employment, good social functioning, basically signs that things are stable and well managed.
Okay, that paints a pretty clear picture of the positives. What about the flip side? What things might lead to more questions or less favorable terms?
Sure. So things that raise flags would be recent hospitalizations for mental health reasons. That definitely warrants a closer look.
Okay, recent being key there.
Often, yes. Also, using multiple medications or maybe higher doses of medication. And as mentioned before, any history of substance abuse is a significant factor. And past suicide ideation or attempts, these will definitely prompt a more thorough review.
But again, it's not necessarily an automatic denial, right? That's what the source suggests.
Precisely. Doesn't mean no, but it does mean they'll need more details. It could lead to what's called a substandard rating, meaning higher premiums, or even a postponement where they ask you to wait and apply later.
Depends on the severity, how recent it was, the context.
Exactly. It's all about the specifics of the situation.
The information we looked at had an example, right? A 35-year-old.
Yes, a 35-year-old with controlled symptoms, no hospitalizations, and that person was able to get competitive rates.
So that really shows it's possible. It highlights that stability and good management are key.
It really does. And it shows the importance of kind of documenting that stability.
Which leads to the presentation aspect.
Yeah.
How the information gets to the insurer. That's where brokers like Diversified come in.
Absolutely. An experienced broker understands what underwriters at companies like MassMutual are looking for. They can help present the case clearly.
Highlighting the positives, like how it's managed, lifestyle factors.
Yes, making sure the full context is understood. They help ensure that the mental health history is viewed fairly based on the current reality of how it's managed, not just, the diagnosis itself.
So wrapping this up, the main takeaway feels like hope, almost. Life insurance is often very possible, even with a history of depression or anxiety.
Definitely possible. It circles back to that holistic view. The overall health, the stability, the management, not just one single factor.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? Seeing how industries like insurance, which are traditionally pretty risk-averse, are adapting as society becomes more open about mental health.
It is. You wonder what further changes we might see down the road as understanding continues to grow.
Yeah, definitely something to think about. How will this keep evolving? Food for thought. Thanks. This was really insightful.